I'll try not to speak too much into this microphone.
That's helpful for a podcast. Hey, welcome to episode 81 of Front Seat Gamer. I'm Nick. I'm here with Severn.
Hey, Nick.
And Blake.
What's up?
And special guest today, Jonathan.
Hey.
How's it going?
Oh, pretty good. Yeah,
Good.
And we're doing all right.
Have you guys been playing anything? I've been playing. I'll start with all. You know what? I'm going to interrupt you both.
Oh.
All of you.
Whoa.
I'll start. I'll talk about what I've been playing. I've been playing Elder Scrolls Legends, which is a like online card game.
Card game, yeah.
Hearthstone-esque. Really fun, actually. It's got like a much higher power level than Hearthstone. There are very few vanilla cards, and you can do really crazy. There's like a lot of really crazy, interesting card interactions. I don't think it's very popular.
Right.
Well, what makes you say that?
I mean, I just haven't heard anybody going, "Oh yeah, I've been playing Elder Scrolls."
If you told me there's an Elder Scrolls card game, I'd be like, of course there is. But at the same time,
You hadn't.
I
Really
hadn't actually
much
heard about it.
it.
Yeah, yeah. It came out a while ago. This is like they're up to like their 4th expansion or
Really?
something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is like chasing the heels of Hearthstone, right? Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, there
I'm
must be
pretty sure.
some people playing it if they're still maintaining it, right?
I hope so.
Or it's like a just team of zombies shambling on.
I mean, I
maintaining
don't
a
know
card
how
game.
much. It's very polished looking.
Okay, well that's good. Yeah.
So have you not played against other players?
I have. There is quite an extensive single player mode, which is just available for free. Like it's
Yeah.
like I want to say there was like 20 chapters or something like that, which is just like basically 20 games.
Is it on mobile as well?
That's where I've been playing it.
It's possible that like sometimes there can be mobile games where it's like you don't even know there's an audience because the mobile audience is not very like
Vocal.
vocal.
Yeah.
They don't really hang out on forums and comment, so you kind of doesn't really look like there's anyone
Yeah,
playing
that's
when there
true.
could be like a million players and you wouldn't even know.
Yeah, there are games
So-
on phone where I download it. It's like, oh, this has like 2 million downloads.
Yeah.
Now, I wonder if there's a strategy guide for it. No strategy guide. There's
Right.
no one's talking about it. No
Yeah.
reviews. It's hugely popular.
It was funny because it was like that whole like test games in New Zealand thing was like a thing that only really happened on mobile because the audience doesn't talk. like
Right.
before you couldn't really test a game in a single market like that because it would just be all over the internet. And,
Right.
like, everyone wouldn't
But we
really
got
be able to
Pokemon
do that.
Go.
But now it's like on mobile, it's like the audience is so silent that just
That is.
yeah.
Isn't that strange?
Real weird.
It's a device that was originally built to talk to people.
I understand.
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
No one's using it.
Yeah.
But I've been playing that. It's really fun. I'm gonna keep playing it actually. And the arena mode, oh my gosh, the amount of value you get out of that thing.
Yeah.
I've only done one full arena run.
So when you say value, you're talking like money,
or
like as
equivalent.
in you're spending money on this.
I'm not spending. I'm spending in-game currency.
Okay, but like I mean that you
But-
bought
okay.
or like
no,
okay,
no,
right.
no. So I don't know how much Hearthstone you played, if any, but
I actually played a fair. I mean, okay, nothing by I'm sure what any Hearthstone players would say standards.
Right.
But I'm sure I probably put like 20 hours into it or something
That's-
like that.
that's
You know,
not
like
bad.
yeah, some amount of time.
yeah.
Yeah.
So you know the arena mode. is
yeah,
like-
yeah, yeah. I even bought some arena tickets.
Yeah.
So
So in Hearthstone, you can buy the arena with 150 gold, or whatever it is. Like you earn gold
Yeah,
in
yeah,
game,
yeah.
and then you can buy arena mode tickets, and you can potentially earn more gold
Yeah,
through
yeah.
the arena than you spent. Same deal in
Mhm,
in Elder Scrolls Legends. However, in Hearthstone, to like quote unquote pay for your arena run, you have to hit 7 wins, and then the number of wins caps out at 12.
right.
In Elder Scrolls, I don't actually know what the pay for the arena run benchmark is, but it caps out at 7, and you do pay for your run. And I got 3 packs of cards on top of that, each of
Right.
which normally costs 100 gold. So,
So you reckon you can self-sustain
absolutely
without?
And it was a breeze.
Right, okay.
Oh, wow.
Now it might be that I just like because it was the first versus a player arena run, the matchmaking was super easy on me.
Right.
Like it might have some like starter leniency going for it, but
Yeah.
Or you're just really good.
But
Is that why you're-
I actually wonder if it's a case of the skills I learned in Hearthstone are really, really transferable.
Right.
Yeah.
Because it is a similar game balance, except that Legends is higher powered, and so
What do you really mean when you're saying it's higher powered?
Okay.
Like, how can like it's a different game? Like, how can you what are you comparing?
Okay. Well, it is a different game, but the resource systems are very, very similar.
Right, right.
In each turn, you gain basically a mana.
Right.
However, in Hearthstone, your typical like turn 2 vanilla monster is going to be like either a 2/3 or a 3/2, right? And it's often not going to have any special attributes associated with
Right,
it.
right.
If it does have something special with it, it's going to be very minor. Whereas in Elder Scrolls, you can play like quite strong monsters on turns 2 and
But I
3.
mean, if everything is strong,
Yes.
aren't just the numbers higher, and it doesn't
Mhm.
like.
The thing is, it's not specifically numbers.
So you reckon it's the abilities are more complicated?
Yes, very, very few creatures. There are very few vanilla creatures.
Right, okay.
Usually, they have some sort of special keyword.
Right, right.
And the vanilla creatures are quite strong.
Right. Okay.
Like a 4/4 with Magic the Gathering is equivalent of Trample for
Right.
3 mana,
Right. Right.
which is like quite a lot higher power per cost than Hearthstone. But it also means the mechanics that they've got in that game mean that there's a lot of back and forth. The game is each individual game can be very swingy,
Right.
which is really enjoyable. It's not usually
Okay.
the case. Hearthstone's very tempo oriented. Once you get board control, it's very hard to, or once your opponent gets board control, it's hard to take it back. This is not the case in Elder Scrolls. So I'm really enjoying it.
Very good.
Yep, that's what I've been playing.
Cool.
Is that how did you find it? Is this from a listener writing in? Because we definitely have had people write in and be like, "What do you think of
I've
that?"
had some people ask me about various games. No, this was just me. I think it just popped up on my phone, and I was like, you know what? I haven't got anything else good to play on my phone at the moment, so I grabbed it.
All right.
It's free. Why not? I like Elder Scrolls, and the current expansion is Morrowind themed, so lots of nostalgia there. It
Yep.
was my first Elder Scrolls game.
That's cool.
Real fun.
Yeah.
Good times.
Sweet.
Jonathan, what you been playing?
God of War be
Yeah?
the primary thing. I mean, I've finished it now.
Yep. When did you
Um,
finish it?
Oh, it was about a week ago, maybe something like that. Maybe it was in a little bit later, earlier than that. But it was. I did everything except the Niflheim.
Mm-hmm.
I'm probably spoiling things already, but
Now I know there's a Niflheim.
yeah.
Damn it.
Oh, what?
I mean,
man. What's even the point of playing
if you
now?
knew anything about Norse mythology, that would have some implications.
Is that the World Tree? No, that's Yggdrasil.
No, that is the World Tree.
Oh, is it?
Well,
Okay.
what I mean is the World Tree is in Norse mythology. Yes,
Right,
that is the same mythology
Okay,
you're
yeah,
referring to.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. Anyway,
There may be spoilers though. Right.
Yeah,
Now
we
I know
should
there's
we
a
should
tree.
preface it that there's going to be spoilers.
yeah, there's going to be God of War spoilers
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, that's
I
fine.
would love to talk about in a spoilerific way God of War. Yeah,
Okay.
so let's just say right ahead, I'm going to be talking about
You
it.
know what sucks is these guys haven't.
I'm only like a few hours
What are
into
you
it.
doing
like-
with your life?
Yeah, what-
What are you doing with your life? Is the question that I have to ask you.
Yeah, I
Seriously.
question myself.
Like seriously, that game I played the only thing I did when I was playing that game was just play it.
Yeah.
It was great. It's one of the better games I've played in a long time. And as a
Yeah.
reboot, it reminds me a lot of Tomb Raider. How they took a sort of old thing and then reimagined it in a modern way. And in fact, it's quite similar to Tomb Raider in a lot of respects, actually, in terms of so I actually don't like open world games at all. But what I do love is open world games that aren't really open world. And Tomb Raider and God of War are
Yeah.
exactly that thing where it's like, yeah, there's kind of an open world in theory, but in reality, it's kind of like you're doing this sort of linear path.
It's
But
a wide corridor.
yeah, but you can kind of go back to places if you want. So it's open
Right.
world in that sense. And you can go back and find stuff find the hidden whatevers, that you want to get or whatever. But
Yep.
the thing that really amazed me about God of War is the level design of the sort of Midgard is super impressive.
Now, why is that? I think
So I mean, once again, I kind of don't want to spoil it for you, but at the same time, if I'm going to talk about it, then I kind of have to
Go
say
for it.
something.
Go
Okay,
for
so
it. It's fine.
I've got this mechanic where, and I'm going to be a little bit vague, the world changes.
I think I know what you're talking about because
we have talked
Yeah,
about
we-
this.
the
we've
world
talked about
changes,
this,
and
yeah.
the thing is, it effectively all of the spaces that you were previously in before get reinterpreted in a new way that I think is really clever.
Now I'm gonna put a name on this because I think we talked about it. Is this the lake?
Yes, that's the lake.
Yeah.
So basically, the lake,
Yeah, we
the
did
water
that.
goes down, and
Yeah.
like the way that it, like, yeah, I mean, when I'm looking at the levels, I'm thinking, man, like that would have taken that's real clever, like what they're doing here, like just the way that they've sort of weaved in the like old parts and the new parts, and yet like, and the thing is like when you're there initially, you're like seeing these things which you sort of know you can't. I mean, it's kind of like what do you call it, Metroid-like in that respect, where there's like things I can't deal with whatever that mechanic is yet.
Yep.
But like the thing is like. But then you look at it and you're like, I don't even see how this could ever become relevant to me. Is when you're looking at it, you're like, I just don't even see like how this could possibly even be for. And then when the water goes down, you suddenly understand like all these things that I've seen, like like how the hell would I ever get there, whatever. And the thing is they do it. They make the game expands like that multiple times. Like just when you think this game is huge enough, it like keeps on getting bigger. And that was surprise. I mean, it's a long game. Like. There's a lot of shit in that game.
How many hours did you put into it?
Yeah, I don't even know, but it was a lot. Like, I mean, more than 30, I'm sure. Like,
Okay.
probably, yeah, I'm probably 40, right? Like, a lot. I did everything, as I said, except Niflheim, which
Is that quite large? Like I don't.
Niflheim's a randomly generated dungeon.
Oh, wow.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So, and it's got this mechanic that I don't love, but I mean, maybe it's okay.
What's the mechanic?
So like there's like this countdown timer, and you kind of have to like keep it maintained and up. And like it's a little bit stressful, and like I just kind of I mean like I'm sure like
Wait, hang on. Does it grow as you're killing things?
no, it doesn't. You have to open you have to open chests.
Okay.
But I mean it's like it's kind of the anyway, it's a thing. That being said, like I actually like I think I would like it in the right context. Like I think there would be a way to do it that would be better than that. But it's kind of not what I was going to God of War for. So whereas the other like kind of I don't know what you'd call it, like sort of special purpose sort of mini game thing they've got going on.
Yeah.
Which is the sort of arena mode that they have.
Is it like a just boss fight?
Yeah, basically, but it's not just like the bosses. Like it's like individual like mechanics of like, oh, in this one you have to do this, but like you can't take any damage, or in this one like you have to do this, but like
Right.
you have to like if once the enemy dies, like you have to kill all the other enemies within some short amount of time, or they'll resurrect.
Yeah.
And like there's just different. They've got a bunch of different things, and I completed that. So like that was more fun to me because like it was kind of doubling down on what's fun about God of War, which is the combat. Although obviously there's a lot more going on in this game, but I mean, like that was that was really fun to me. I honestly just really good game. Like the storyline, super solid. Just like the puzzling was really good. Like, yeah, as I said, it reminds me a lot of Tomb Raider. It's like if you crossed God of War with like Tomb Raider, this is what you get.
And controversially, you like it more than Zelda.
Oh, absolutely. It's a better Zelda than Zelda is.
Oh.
I mean, and once again, this is going to come down to the fact that I don't like open worlds that much. I mean, the fact that I even finished Zelda when it's an open world game is telling of how good Zelda was. But I prefer more sort of like
a little more direction.
more direction, and like I sort of you always know where you're going in God of War.
I mean, God of War, I assume has a lot more. I mean, it sounds to me like there's a mechanical progression to it, which Zelda very much, I wouldn't say lacked, but it was not as clear.
Right.
Like because you get enough tools to do everything in the game from
right,
within the first hour.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Zelda certainly is not the Meteoroid thing.
No. Yeah. It's
So
it's really just go wherever, do whatever. Whereas sounds like God of War is very much like
it's very much the Meteoroid thing of like you get the tools later.
Stuff.
But it's real good.
Have you did you ever get into the backstory of God of War development and how it's taken 5 years to make this one?
I haven't looked into that, no.
Okay.
But I mean, I can see how it would.
They iterated like crazy according to.
When I was looking at that game, honestly, but I was looking like I don't even know how they made so much content to a AAA graphical standard.
That alone is mind blowing.
Like it is mind blowingly crazy the amount of stuff in that game. Like they must have been working so long on that, and they must have done some really amazing development stuff to like make that possible.
Yeah,
I mean, I think they've also got an enormous team.
Oh, of
right?
course, but I mean, things normally when you get these big teams, you don't get something as cohesively like
someone
designed
has to
like
be
this. You know what I mean?
overseeing all of that. Yeah.
I mean, it's the size of a of an Elder Scrolls game practically. You know, like in terms
Really?
of stuff. Yeah, I mean it's huge,
Whoa.
absolutely huge.
40 hours
I
does
mean,
not
yeah,
sound
yeah,
Elder
okay,
Scrolls
maybe
to
not,
me.
maybe not. But I mean, you know what I mean? Like, but in terms of content, it is. Like in terms of like, you know, in terms of like the,
It's
the
deep,
square
yeah.
meterage of
Yeah.
land, it like is huge.
Yeah.
You know,
Like, but I don't know. Elder Scroll. When we're talking Elder Scrolls, we're talking like
yeah. I mean, I guess
actual
sure.
miles.
Yeah,
and
no,
miles
I
of-
understand. I
Yeah,
understand.
but I mean, I get the idea. Like Elder Scrolls is sprawling, where this
Yeah.
is more like
yeah, it's focused.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
This is focused.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, it's just it's real good, real good.
I like how they like previous God of Wars. He was this very one-dimensional guy.
Oh yeah,
He
yeah.
was that.
I'm angry and
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
gonna
Yeah.
kill
He's just that angry guy.
everything.
Whereas in this one, they've actually kind of modernized him. I feel
Yeah,
like
they have.
the entire that game is just converted really well to like modern video games.
I think I may have. I don't know if I talked about this on the podcast, but I have a theory about that, and that is game developers growing up with their audience
Oh, yeah,
and
could be.
appealing to like the people who played the original God of War. It's probably a significant portion of them now have kids. They are
Well,
now fathers.
It's interesting to see that the other of War game also
Gears of War, yes.
also had the whole like you're a father now
Yeah.
Huh.
thing going on. Like it's actually a theme.
Does he run around with his kid son?
You know, I don't actually know since I haven't played it, but I did know that like that I do know that they have that element.
Yeah.
Mm.
And, like-
I think that's cool.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean it's sort of interesting that's like suddenly fatherhood is like a theme in gaming.
Well,
that
it's
kind of was,
it's
you know-
also in media and like in like Logan was sort of had that theme in a way, like an older guy like looking after.
sure, but I mean that's not something that's something that movies have tackled
Mm.
for a long time. I would say, like I would say, movies have long kind of had that those kinds of themes, but in gaming, not really so much.
like Indiana Jones 4.
Oh god.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Where it's most gracefully handled, if you ask
It's sort of interesting that you say that because it sort of makes me think that like it's the fours of games that have
Die Hard
yeah,
4 also had.
yeah. Like it's because by the time you got to 4, it's like any reasonable like challenge that doesn't involve being a parent has been sort of you've faced. So,
What about was Rocky 4 with their kids?
Oh,
I don't know. How many 4s was Fast and the Furious 4?
That's always been about family. Fast and the
you know,
Furious.
like, that sounds like the retcon of the century to me. Honestly. Seriously, that's I mean, it's about family. Like, is it though? Is that the defining characteristic?
Well,
of
if they
Fast and
say it enough
Furious?
in the
Yeah, I know.
movie,
Is family? Yeah, got it.
Yeah.
Tokyo Drift is 4. That was
Wait, what?
No, Tokyo Drift is
Tokyo
3.
Drift isn't even part of the canon.
what?
No, it is. It's after like
Yeah.
6 or something. That's
Is it
seriously,
really?
it's seriously. It's that, I don't know. Okay, I'm like the last person. I'm the last person to ask about Fast and the Furious.
I've never seen a whole one.
Yeah. The thing I find funny about that series is that over time they just lose more and more of the title. Like it used to be the Fast and
Yeah,
the Furious,
you're
and then
right.
like and then like yeah, and it's like then they get to number 8 and it's like just F8.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's like
Yeah.
hashtag F8.
Yeah.
You know, like, yeah. Anyway,
I'm so excited for F.
if F, yeah, no, I get no. Just be 9.
Yeah.
That's just yeah. Like you know
part
what
of
it
the
is.
series is that
yeah,
part of?
you know what it is at this point.
It's a 9, but the circle of the 9 is a rim of a car tire.
Yeah, probably.
It's like no, it's like a backwards F, but then it closes.
Oof. Yeah. That's what it is.
Yeah.
I
Cool.
like
Sounds like you like that game.
Yeah, no, it was great.
But they do things like just by having a stupid kid around, like he can say really obvious things to the player. So it's like a really nice thing
Yeah.
to have as a filler thing,
Yeah,
and to talk directly to the
I-
player.
I also found it really cool because I was playing it on its immersion mode or whatever with like less UI, and
Oh,
that kid really like points stuff out
Oh,
that
yeah.
a UI would normally.
I
do
don't
for
even
you.
know what UI you'd even be complaining about being there. 'cause,
I
like,
don't
there's
know.
really very little like intrusive UI.
I don't know. There's just an immersion mode. That's
Isn't
like,
that just a difficulty thing though?
No, it's not. It's separate to the difficulty.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Alright.
I think they hide some health levels and stuff. And
Oh, you know
Various
what? Damn it!
mechanics.
Now that I think about it, yeah, the health of the monsters. I can see why you'd want to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know if there's a way to tell Kratos' health, but like the kid says like, "Oh, you're not looking too good" or something,
Yeah.
and then
Normally,
I'm like, "Oh,
normally you can
I'm
see your health, but I wouldn't want to live
Yeah.
without that. That's kind of
Yeah.
you know.
I had to turn the difficulty down though because it actually was like
Okay.
way too tough.
At the start, it's actually harder than later. Like once you get the moves,
Uh,
you kind of gets a bit easier.
Interesting.
Yeah,
you would
like,
think that it would be the other way around.
the combat system is gets real cool by the end.
Mm.
Like at the start it does seem a bit simple, but but yeah, it gets real cool, especially when you get once later on you get multiple weapons,
Mm.
and it really starts to open up.
Isn't it crazy how that's been kept a secret? Like,
Yes, I don't. I know that's something.
holy shit.
That's something I don't want to spoil actually about how that is.
Yeah.
And like that's a really strong moment.
Yeah, I didn't even know that there were multiple weapons.
Yeah. Okay.
I
Well,
only just learned
that's
that.
it's a really strong moment, and honestly, like when I saw that, I was like, it felt like just super epic in a way. Like
Yeah.
you know, like yeah.
I was
it
like, how did I miss out on this?
Yeah.
Like,
Well, as I
in-
said, that game just opened up in so many ways, so many times. Like it just kept on. It just kept on giving. So yeah, it's real good.
I'll have to play it.
You will have to play
Yeah,
it. It is
that
required.
And The Last of Us. Those.
So I mean, you've got it. I think we talked before. Like you don't have a PS4, right?
correct.
But like I was saying, I can lend you
Yeah,
my
I will-
PS4.
Borrow that.
Yeah,
for
definitely.
sure.
Actually, someone else has borrowed the game from me now. So
I can borrow
can't-
Severin's copy.
Yeah.
you know, I actually lent it out to Cal.
Oh
Yeah,
my
yeah.
god.
So everyone.
Ugh. Boo. If you're listening and you've got a copy,
Mail it.
yeah, if you can email your copy to
No, but they'll send you the God of War from like
the original.
yeah,
God
yeah.
of
That
War.
was your
This-
big problem with the
this is-
naming.
this
Is
So
I
is,
had a
this, so
rant.
is this game called God of War 4 or just God of War?
It's just
I wasn't
called God
actually
of
clear
War.
on that.
It's just called God of War, and this frustrates the hell out of me.
Nick had a rant about it.
Yep.
And I think it is justified. Okay,
I really
because
thought it was called God of War 4. Like, isn't that like if you look on Metacritic, like what's it called on Metacritic?
I think
I
it's
don't
called
know.
God of War.
Really?
You know what? I could Google it right now on my phone. It
Right.
just doesn't make for great podcast.
That's fine.
listening.
He's googling it.
Yeah. God of War.
On the box it says God 4.
Yeah, you are right.
Mm.
But I sort of assumed there was just an implicit 4.
There's a silent four.
There's a silent 4.
It's called God of War on Google, and
right.
on Wikipedia it distinguishes it by calling it God of War (brackets 2018 video
Yeah.
game).
Yeah.
So
I think Tomb Raider does that as well.
yeah.
was
So
like-
this okay.
So for Tomb Raider though, it's different because Tomb Raider was a legit reboot. Like we're
Yes.
going back to the beginning.
yeah,
Yes.
it was.
Whereas in this
I
case,
want to
it
comment on
is a sequel. You know.
Mm.
Yeah. This
And,
is-
and honestly,
Oh.
and the sequelness of it actually becomes more apparent later in the game. Like it doesn't actually seem like a sequel really much in many ways at all initially, but it actually gets you. It actually develops the connection to the past way more strongly
Okay.
towards the end of the game, and in a narrative way that I think is actually extremely impressive. Like at the start, like you kind of could. Like when I was starting the game, I was thinking like there is no reason you had to play the previous games at all for this. Is what I was thinking. But then by the end, it's like no, that actually was like super meaningful and justified. And like bringing that like the whole like rage storm of God of War 3 into like something that actually felt like a meaningful story thing, like was so impressive to me. Like the sort of to actually acknowledge that past and develop it into like a really sort of clever story element is clever. So yeah, I really appreciate that.
Yeah. He's a complicated dude, man.
Yeah.
And he's trying
And
to
he never
freaking-
used to be. That's what's
Yeah.
that cool, right? He just
Yeah.
used to be
Yeah.
a rage monster.
Yeah.
But
like
can I just before I want to let's address the massive
the name.
numberless elephant
Oh,
in
here
the
we
room.
go. All right.
Why would they call it God of War?
I don't know.
What do you think about that?
I assumed it was called God of War 4 before. This is the first I knew that it didn't have a 4 at the end.
Okay, now let me throw this like concept out there. You played tons of Diablo 2.
Yeah.
Right? Did you also play the original Diablo? I assume
Yes,
you
of
did.
course.
Yeah. If Blizzard were to launch a new Diablo in a new style or whatever it was, and it was just called Diablo, would that piss you off?
I mean, I honestly don't really care that much, but it would seem strange to me given that the games don't really have much of a connection between themselves really anyway. I mean, I saw
Right.
there is some plot there, I guess, but like it's not like, in general, like you're not playing the same characters or anything.
No.
So there's no real sort of like, there's less to link them, and so then,
Sure.
so you've already established that that's going to be the case. So there would be nothing like normally the reason why you leave the number off is because you're trying to establish a break in continuity.
Yes.
And so I guess in this case it kind of wouldn't make sense since that would already be signaled just by virtue of the fact they already kind of do that.
But here's my problem with it is Diablo is still a good game. The original Diablo is still
So you think it takes something away from like the original somehow?
it makes it okay. It does. I do think I don't know that it.
So you
takes
think
it-
that God of War is somehow diminished by?
I don't know that it's necessarily diminished, but what you are doing is basically relegating it to like the to
something. I mean,
obscurity.
I sort of
like
guess
you're
I
now
see what you
saying
mean a little bit.
that one doesn't matter anymore.
Right.
because this is the real God of War.
Right. Okay.
And like this doesn't happen in like I don't know. It just is. It frustrates
It doesn't
me
happen
because-
where? What you're about to say?
Like books.
Books?
Yeah. A good novel lasts for centuries, right?
Right.
And you don't go, okay, this is
They don't
Pride
have
and
a reboot?
Prejudice, the sequel,
Hey,
but it's
well,
now Pride and
I'll
Prejudice.
tell you. I'll
or
tell you what
whatever,
though.
you know?
There have been book retcons in the past.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure there. Yes,
Have you?
there
Do,
have.
do you know about the Hobbit retcons?
No.
Okay, so this is real good. Right. Okay, so spoilers for the Hobbit here, guys.
Oh no.
So
I want to hear this.
so basically, okay. So in the original version of the Hobbit that was released,
Uh-huh.
they had their riddle game for the ring, right? And Bilbo wins the ring, and what's his name, Smeagol or whatever, just gives him the ring. But like, sweet, you won. Here's the
Yeah.
ring. And then and he went off with it, and they parted amicably. And then, so this was just like a thing that happened. Like that was just, it was a totally like just like random, like, oh, you won this ring from me, cool kind of moment, right? There was no like kind of significance to that in any way at all. And then when he wrote, there was like several other elements of the book. And then when he wrote the Lord of the Rings, he retconned the Hobbit and made it darker, and like in order to like make the Lord of the Rings like fiction better.
Right.
Oh wow.
So yeah, like people don't even know that there was an original version of the Hobbit because it's really like not really available anymore.
Right.
Huh.
Interesting.
Because it was like what 1910s or something. I don't know,
Yeah.
something like that, like
Yeah.
a long time ago.
But you know what he didn't do?
What?
He didn't call Lord of the Rings the Hobbit.
Okay. Okay.
You know, that's my point.
All right.
Don't call a sequel, an actual sequel, or even like a game in the same series, the same name as another game, because you're just saying that first game didn't matter. If you have faith that you're making a good product, then,
So the Xbox One.
yeah, yep.
I get a feeling you don't approve of that name.
I think that's a dumb name too, but
Right.
that's more like that's just so confusing as a consumer.
Yeah.
Like, I just picture like a grandmother walking into a pawn shop to get her
Right.
grandkid a cheap video game and goes, "Give me the first Xbox or whatever.
Right.
Give me the Xbox
Yeah, right.
that Jimmy wants." And
They didn't
Kids.
really sell enough of those original ones, probably. Oh no, but I guess they had Halo, so yeah, they did.
Yeah, they sold a
they
fair
must-
number.
they
Yeah,
must
it
have sold a
was,
fair
it was
number,
big. Yeah.
Yeah.
anyway, I just that I've had my rant before. I don't need to have another rant.
Yeah,
You
the thing
you
is,
just did, Nick. You had a rant. It was
another
quite a
another
long rant, actually.
Yeah, add it to the previous rant.
Yeah.
Also, haven't iPads been doing this for a while now, where every new iPad
Hey,
is
don't
just
even
iPad?
like the iPad's a total travesty of naming. Like
Yes.
seriously, there was an iPad that's official name is the new iPad.
Oh,
It's
God.
literally the actual name of the product
Oh,
is
my God.
the new iPad. Like it's just and that is not the newest iPad. So like
Yeah, the new
Yeah,
iPad is
no,
the.
I
so-
need the new iPad 2, please.
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah.
But okay, that is also stupid. But at least there is a a direct relationship of betterness, and no one's going like,
Right,
oh,
okay.
I really wish I had that first iPad. It was so good.
Right. Okay.
You know,
okay.
the design choices they made in that iPad were so much better than the most recent iPad.
Well, I
or
think they
whatever.
actually were kind of, but hey, that's another. That's a thing we can't go back to. I'm
Sure. but you there are things to appreciate in old games. I'm just saying
Right,
this
right.
is like saying no, there isn't when,
All right,
when you
okay.
call a name
Fair enough.
in the same name as another game. Anyway, what you been playing, Severn?
Shit, I've just been playing some Dirt Rally.
Oh,
And,
you're still jamming that.
yeah, well, I brought there's a newer one.
How
And,
new?
What's it called?
it's called Dirt Rally.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's pretty cool. It's newer than new.
The new Dirt Rally.
The new Dirt
No, wait,
Does
wait,
the car have a kid?
wait, the one, the
Yeah,
one
the smaller
before it,
car.
the one before it was called Dirt 3, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this one's called Dirt Rally.
Oh man, that's yep.
But
And it's pretty good.
but the first one was called Dirt.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
at least
It's a different
that.
game,
okay,
At least
yeah.
it's a different name.
I thought Dirt Rally came out a while ago.
Yeah. I'm getting onto this way late.
So did they actually take out all the garbage that isn't the rally?
Yeah, it went into this like
I am totally going to play that game then. Seriously, Dirt 3, I was just disgusted by them. They've got this Gymkhana thing and random stupid bikes
What?
and other crap.
They have more. Not
Dirt
bikes.
bikes.
They don't have bikes.
No, what do they call them? Those
They weren't
those
even
quad
dirt
things.
bikes.
Those quad
Right,
bikes.
right.
You know, so anyway, they had annoying things that weren't real. Like the reason. Okay, so like I was a big fan of Colin McRae Rally,
Yeah, same.
and then the original Dirt was great as well because it was mostly rally. It had a few other random things, but I could forgive that.
Yeah.
But then just the further they went into the series, the more it just got away from rally.
Yep.
And
This extreme sport bullshit.
yeah, exactly. So you're saying they're getting back to their roots?
Yeah. Well, with this last one, it was pretty cool.
Doing a gritty reboot.
What? It is kind of gritty. Yeah.
Right.
Dirt's
Man,
so gritty.
That gravel. But they had this one level, and man, it's just an open area, an open world for my car, and it's just like obstacles, and I can just drive around.
It's starting worse. It's
And I was
getting
like-
worse. No,
And I was like, this is pretty fun.
no, open world games.
Don't worry.
No.
Don't worry. There's a lake in it, and
Like, if there's one game type, I want a linear storyline in. It's a racetrack. Like, it's the.
what about Mario Kart? And it's like forking paths.
No. And also, while we're at it, I hated that other car game they made open world too. What was it?
That one where you race across America, is that the one you're thinking
No,
of?
I'm not
Yeah,
thinking
you're
of that.
thinking of the crew.
No, I'm not thinking of that. I'm thinking of one. No, because they had awesome games before it, and it was like the one where you killed other cars and.
Oh, Carmageddon.
Burnout.
No, yes,
Burnout
Burnout,
Paradise.
Yeah.
Burnout Paradise. Burnout
Yeah.
Paradise. I loved Burnout, and then Burnout Paradise came out. I'm like, nah,
Oh.
done.
Wait,
You know the
what?
best part about Burnout?
What?
The crash game.
Yeah, but then people say that, but then when people have tried to be like, what if we just made the crash
Yeah,
game?
no, it
It's
couldn't
completely failed.
just be
And then
the crash game for
even
sure.
when the people who made Burnout made just a crash game, like they still failed. So apparently,
What's
yeah.
what's not to like about open worlds?
I just don't like the directionless. I like to have some, I have to know
but
what I'm
you
going
want
to
the
do.
goals.
And there's also, you know what? Let me tell you what it actually is. Open worlds attract lazy copy and paste game design garbage.
Hmm.
So what I'm saying is like, let's put it this way. In God of War, it's not like there's like, like we're not just taking like some random mechanic we made and then stamping it out as a bunch of icons around the world. You know what I mean? Like I hate that shit. And open
Collectibles
worlds and
and
open.
that sort
It's
of
not
thing.
just collectibles. Like collectibles, I can at least get behind if it's like I won't like go out of my way to collect them, but I'll collect them ones that I see. If you know what I mean. Like everyone I see, I'll try to work out the puzzle. But it's not even the collectibles. I'm talking like thing like Assassin's Creed, where it's like, oh, there's like one of 57 like escort missions or whatever, like some random thing. And,
Right.
I really hate that shit.
I'm with you with Assassin's Creed and climb one of 200 towers or whatever and jump
Right,
off. I hate that bullshit too.
Yeah.
But for like a video game, I want to be able to kind of walk off and do my own thing.
I know-
I don't like these
I know some
corridors.
people like that. I just don't, honestly. I want to go through the kind of like, like as I said, I like a bit of openness. Like to me, like, so I'm reminded of things like, you were saying like the wide corridor
Yeah.
is like is the thing that I like. Like, a game with that
Half-Life 2 is a
masterfully-
really
oh yeah,
good.
amazingly good at that. But also another game that actually was really good is Crysis. They actually had the wide corridor thing super well. Like they had these big sort of open world environments, but each of them was sort of a set piece.
Yep.
That you sort of can kind of approach in different ways. But like there's a path. Like you're doing a thing. Like there's no
Yep.
like
There is
so
an
yeah.
endpoints to reach.
Exactly.
then you
So
go into a new
I much
area.
prefer that type of thing.
Yeah.
What was it with Zelda then that like hooked you?
I think the lack of icons. It's funny though because like, and I think we might have even. I don't know if I've been on a no. That Zelda came way after the last time we were on a podcast, but I actually never found any Korok seeds.
Yeah, we've
Until-
talked.
Oh right, yeah.
Way
We
into
talked
the
about this a
game,
little
so I had
bit.
no idea that was in the. That
That's
was in the
funny
game.
because that is the most cut and paste thing
Yeah.
in the
It
world.
is,
I was
it
gonna
is.
say,
So-
yeah.
Zelda is a little guilty of that.
Yeah.
However, I will say that they are very clever about where they
Right.
put them.
Uh,
And it's always in a place where you want to climb a thing because it just seems like it'll be fun, and then you get rewarded for it.
Right. So I had actually no idea that there was like so many in the game. And I
Yeah,
didn't-
900.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
God.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. I got like 5. Like it was seriously, and then,
I was
and then Nick, until Nick pointed it out, and
I
then
was shocked.
the thing,
Yeah.
I think at the point where I talked to Nick about it, I think I might have had 3, and like it was like the
I
one
think
that you
actually
get,
no, I think you had one.
because there's the one you get at the start, and then I found an extra.
You
one.
say that the one you get. There's no one that you get at the start.
there?
No, there's nothing gives you one for free.
Isn't there?
No, you found one.
Oh, maybe.
And
There were some like minor puzzles I remember in towns where it's like you put an apple on a thing and then you get a Korok seed, but that doesn't like seem like something that's then cut and paste
Right,
Oh,
throughout
right.
the place. You might
Although
have just
that
been like,
particular
this is a
thing
one
actually is in
thing.
quite a few places now.
Yeah, that
possibly,
is-
but-
it
Yeah,
is
well,
all-
Yes.
once you see it, then yeah.
But anyway, the point is that like so I was just kind of approaching it like kind of what I saw, and I
Right.
I didn't feel like there was a bunch of busy work to do.
Right.
So that was okay, and like plus the gameplay was just really good. So
Yeah.
I mean, I guess the temples, the temples were fun enough.
Hmm.
What do you call them? Is that they called
Shrines,
temples?
I
Shrines.
think,
That's the one.
something, yeah.
Shrine. Temple. Shrine. Yeah. Anyway.
It's
Um,
the same thing.
yeah. Anyway, the shrines were good enough that you could just kind of treat that as like a bunch of like
Yeah, there's
linear-
120 of them.
Yeah, you just effectively treat that as 120 levels in a game that you do.
Yeah.
So that was enjoyable to me, and then I kind of didn't really do a lot of extra stuff in that game.
Mm.
Like so yeah, it was good, but yeah, just open world in general, not a fan.
Now, one of the things I don't like about open world games, and I think this is particularly the reason I don't love GTA as much as some people, is the time like to get to interesting things.
Right.
A lot of and this GTA is particularly guilty of this, where it's like it's a beautifully rendered world where you don't have anything to do in it, and
Right.
except for a few points of interest, and you just have to take a long time
Well-
to get to those points of interest.
Then you'll be happy in God of War because at any time during that game,
Yeah.
people are talking at you. Like it is like all 40 hours.
That's a lot of.
I don't even know
dialogue.
how they fit it on the disc. It's ridiculous. Like literally, like if you're not fighting, there's someone chatting to you about like some Norse mythology or something like that. Like it's seriously kind of crazy.
What is his name? Kratos is a very good storyteller.
Yeah,
also.
yeah, absolutely.
And so
Masterful.
when you're just when you're just going out to islands,
Yeah.
you'll just enjoy one of his dad stories.
yeah, seriously.
I think I've heard one of them.
Oh yeah.
I think so. I don't remember the exact details, but it was very short.
Cool.
Yeah.
And I hear the son.
He's
did
to the
not-
point.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's really good.
What's I like, and I haven't played the game, but I have played a little bit of I think God of War 2, maybe 1. I think I played a little bit of both of them. I think.
God of War. You mean you've played God of War?
Yeah.
Do you see the problem here? I haven't played God of War, but I play God of War.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
No, I understand. Yeah.
And I like the idea that normally a father would tell these fantastical tales and relate mythological tales to their kids, but he's like killed a lot of the characters in the mythology.
Yeah.
So I am interested to hear. Yeah, I am excited to play that game, but also The Last of Us, and I think I'm more excited to play The Last of Us because I've only.
You should play that game.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I think God of War is a better game.
Ooh.
Shit, dude.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Ooh.
There is a All right. There was a gripe I had with early God of War when your kid kills a thing, and then the next things that pan out felt very derivative from a moment from
You
The
reckon?
Last of Us.
You reckon?
You know the encounter I'm
I
talking
think I
about?
do, yeah.
Yeah, where he's like moping and he's kind of walking towards that switch or lever.
Right.
Oh,
I
I
fe-
think I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
I felt like that was some bullshit. I didn't like the pacing of it. I felt like it was far too early for me for them to put something like that in that game.
Okay.
Or to tell it in that way.
Okay.
I just thought it was interesting that the kid sort of showed some kind of like a personality, like he's pissed off with his dad.
You
Yeah.
will see that way more in effect later on.
Oh.
It's they do some pretty clever, and once again, just talking about dialogue, right? Like, just the amount of dialogue is insane. Like, there's a moment where like the relationship between two of the characters, like the kid and one of the other characters changes, and it's like they've re-recorded like all of the sort of like little things that like happen during combat
Oh, right.
suddenly changed because the relationship has changed.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like there's shit like that, and it's like, and there's also stuff where it's like there's new characters introduced, and like depending on when, like there's stuff you could do, like before, like a lot of stuff you could do before you met them, but if you do it after you met them, then they've got lots of stuff to say about it as well. Like there's all this dialogue I haven't even heard because I completed
so
side
cool.
missions before I got that character and things like that. Like you
Yeah.
know, the amount of dialogue is staggering. Like I don't know how many recording sessions they had to do, but like holy crap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you get into these David Cage video games? Are you into those?
Not really, no.
Okay, because that seems like a very good example of a lot of dialogue, a lot of
Right,
content
right.
In a video game.
So you're referring to Quantum. Wait.
Sorry, Heavy Rain.
Heavy Rain, yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
there's
yeah,
the
yeah, no, I
recent
know,
game
yeah.
is Detroit.
So I played Heavy Rain, but I haven't played the other ones.
Right. But I didn't like the QuickTime event for these particular games. But from like a content point of view, it's
Yeah.
kind of crazy.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like the logistics of even
Yeah,
like
yeah.
putting that kind of stuff together. Are you excited about Detroit?
I honestly haven't thought about it. Like,
Okay.
it's just not been on my radar at all.
Okay.
Is
But
that the co-op one?
No, it's his latest one.
that's the one where
Cyborgs.
yeah, the cyborgs, and then like
Oh.
they had a really crazy booth at E3.
Hmm.
Like,
It
I
came
don't
out.
remember it.
It came out yesterday. Do you guys know about this?
I saw Jake was
Is it
talking about it,
good?
being like it hasn't arrived yet because I think he's ordered it.
I think it's got an
has
80
it got
on.
good reviews?
It's got a 80ish on Metacritic.
I'd probably play that.
That
Like,
sounds good.
I'll go get a copy of that.
I was interested after seeing a couple of
What?
reviews.
What is that game gonna be about? Because all I know is that it's just like I've seen cinematics of rioting androids, and
Detroit-
that's kind of.
It's about Detroit having a
Robot uprising.
Robot uprising.
But like
it's the sequel to
gameplay wise, I
RoboCop.
don't know what it's doing. Like
It's just telling stories, man.
it's just telling stories.
Yeah, there are 3 stories that you play through.
Now,
Really?
I'm actually
Yeah.
curious because you've famously had a rant about
Stories.
Story
being
in
garbage.
game.
Yeah.
Have you got the John Carmack opinion?
Yeah.
Do you?
Well, yeah. I just don't think video games are there yet.
but then you're a fan of the.
I want to see where these people pushing video game story are taking it.
have
Do
you-
you, do you honestly think that video games are not to the standard of movies in terms of story yet?
I think like I have some of those moments, Firewatch and The Last of Us. I think outside of those 2 games,
Really?
Heavy Rain I guess was up there for me.
I
as
mean,
well.
I don't know. Maybe you've just got higher standards than I do, but like I found God of War was doing it for me in terms of that. you know?
God of War was badass. But how much of Norse mythology did you know going into it?
Pretty much anything you'd get from the Avengers.
Yeah.
Thor,
I don't-
Loki, and that's
yeah, exactly, exactly. There's like a Bifrost.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. Bifrost, I know what that is.
Where's the Tesseract? I don't understand.
So I think if you did know a little bit about that, then you would enjoy it a whole bunch. God of War
Probably.
for those reasons.
Probably, yeah.
Um,
I mean, you pick up a lot of Norse mythology just like as background radiation of culture, right?
Mm.
Like there's just a lot of kind of stuff you hear.
yeah,
Especially in gaming.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
If you played Age of Mythology.
never played it.
Oh my gosh.
I
Good
always
story, though?
wanted
They're
to play it.
still
I
put-
never,
aren't they still
I never
putting
did.
expansions out for that game?
Age of Mythology?
Yeah.
Well,
I feel like I saw something recently about Age of Mythology.
Could not believe that is that is true.
I'll have to check it out, but
Unless they rebooted it and named it Age of Mythology.
no, I haven't played that. I've played Age of Mythology, not Age of Mythology.
Right.
Like the classic knock for me with video game stories is just like I'm Kratos. I'm this badass, this guy who kills gods, and I'm like, I need a key to unlock this wooden chest in front of me. You know, it's just things that break immersion.
Well, to be
for me.
fair, any wooden
Okay.
chest you just smash open.
Yeah, I do.
No, I know, but
What
the
you're
example is
describing-
like
Yeah.
it's just some bullshit. Like
There's-
there's a wall, and I should be able to get past it, but I can't
There's
because it's a
There's a term
corridor.
for that. I forget who coined it, but it's ludonarrative disconnect, which is basically like there's a disconnect between the story and theme of the game and the gameplay mechanics.
Yeah.
Which is often prevalent in like games where you're meant to be the hero and you kill tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of people.
Hmm.
So I agree with you that there is often a ludonarrative disconnect, but then there are also games where the story is the main mechanical component and the main progression component, like a Telltale game or any point-and-click adventure, where, that isn't the case, and all the actions build towards the story. So I think that you're playing the wrong games to make that judgment call.
those point and clicks are just not for me.
But that's what I'm saying is if you don't think games are up to the standard of a film, but then you don't play story-driven games, that's like saying, oh, well, movies don't. There's no good action movies, but because I keep watching like period dramas.
But the interaction is just horrible. Like a point and click versus like a game where I'm actually
That's the
steering a character
control
around.
scheme.
But that's not even.
That's just the control scheme. It's just the name of the genre. Like you have you played Myst?
No,
Well, then what are you talking about?
I know the one you're talking about. There, the
Like,
point and click with
It's
3D.
like an adventure game
graphics.
or whatever. Not even necessarily 3D. It's just
It's like 3D, 2D images that you click on.
sometimes it is, sometimes it's not. Like it's
I
what
mean, a book is just these letters on a page.
Yeah.
And like you
Yeah.
know, you just
I
read
know.
them.
I know these
You know,
video games.
like,
when I read the words in different orders, it makes no sense. That's bad construction.
Man,
Where's the
even-
instruction manual for the book?
It's a yeah. I mean, look, you don't play a game like that for the action, obviously. So yeah, you just have to. It's a different thing.
Yeah, I think you were expecting a game to have all of the magical components of all of great media all in the same game. But what great piece of media has every single piece of good?
God of
Like-
War.
I don't know.
that was one of the reasons I had to rush through God of War because of just everyone talking about it at the
Right,
office. So I
right.
was like, holy shit, I've got to finish this game.
Yeah.
No one's good.
I gotta play it.
You do.
I gotta play it.
You do.
Blake, what you been playing?
Oh man.
We're almost out of time.
Yeah, I know we are. I've been playing Divinity 2 with some buddies, which has been real fun. Which is kind of why I haven't
Have you
played
been
much
playing-
God of War.
There's like a DM mode for that game, right?
Yeah, I
Really?
sort of looked at that, but I haven't like actually played a
Like,
proper game of it.
Like Neverwinter Nights had that.
Well, I don't know how it works in Neverwinter Nights, but the way I understand it works in Divinity is like your people are running through an area, and you can determine when monsters spawn
Right.
and where
Yeah.
loot is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and in Neverwinter Nights, you could literally. It was effectively a live editor for the game.
Yeah.
But you could do it as the people were playing.
Yeah,
Right.
it's,
So you could just create monsters and loot tables and all sorts of shit just as they were playing
That's neat.
and
Yeah.
change stuff.
yeah, it seems like this has got that as well. Like I've
Right.
seen a few like pre-made stuff, but then I've looked online where people are like, I think pausing the game and then putting stuff down like
right.
at a
Okay.
distance
So I mean,
or something like that. Or...
Neverwinter Nights was a game you could pause anyway, just as
Yeah.
a player. I don't know how it worked in multiplayer. I never actually played that, but I did know they had it. And I sort of tried it out just like to see what you could do.
Yeah.
And that was real cool. I mean,
Yeah.
I bet you so few people used it, but I'm sure the people who did use it were like
Yeah,
super
yeah.
dedicated like
Oh, sure.
D&D fans.
I remember playing a game. I don't remember the name of it, but that was the central mechanic of the game. Was people
Right.
would enter your quote unquote dungeon, and you would be the DM, and you would throw challenges
don't
at them,
think-
and you'd sort of take turns doing that.
I don't think that's a thing that players generally want to do. Like it's a very
No,
niche
it wasn't.
mechanic.
It wasn't great,
Yeah.
and it's very hard to balance because you want the
Did you-
DM to feel like they are screwing the players over, but you also don't want the players to always feel screwed over.
There was a
It's-
game called The Castle Doctrine that someone made
Okay.
where you basically had to make a it's funny actually because it was kind of ripped off by Mario. You know that Mario making thing?
Yeah.
Or it has the thing where like you need to like
Yeah. the
we
Mario
need to
Maker.
finish the level yourself before you can
Yep.
before you can publish it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure The Castle Doctrine had
Yeah.
that first.
There was a mobile game that had something like that as well.
All right.
I think I've heard of Castle Doctrine. You like setting up like traps and
Yeah,
stuff,
yeah,
and,
yeah.
and someone has to like basically bust into your
Yeah,
your
it's your
castle.
thing, your castle.
Yeah, it sounded real cool. When
Yeah.
yeah,
So you've been playing Divinity 2?
yeah, I've been playing Divinity 2, and it's been slightly annoying playing it with friends because it's been fun, but
One of
also
those be DMing and
slightly
really
annoying.
screwing us
Because
over.
the thing is, like, my friends aren't big D&D
Right.
fans. They play like
Are you?
I a little bit. Like I've only recently kind of gotten into D&D,
Okay.
but like I can get into that D&D mindset where you're like taking your time and like looking through areas for like secret things and that sort of stuff. Where my friends, a few of them are just like,
They're like
there's a
suburban.
monster, I'm just gonna attack it.
Mm.
There's a villager, I'm gonna pickpocket them. Oh, I failed. Now the entire village is like in a fight, and so it's been a little bit frustrating like that. We've had to like reload quite often, but
Right.
I think they're slowly like getting used to that kind of gameplay.
Okay.
Yeah. But it's been so much fun. Like the combat is like it's got that whole like Zelda elements thing where like you can throw down water and then zap it with lightning and the whole thing becomes electric and it will stun anyone that's like on it and
BioShock.
yeah Bioshock, yeah. Or like you got like a poison barrel that you set on fire and it'll explode the entire because poison is explosive, obviously.
I mean, if you drink gasoline, you certainly get
Clouds.
poisoned.
It's just
Yeah.
clouds of fuel.
Yeah, it is, and it's it's real cool. Like seeing these like thinking that you're in the middle of a fight and everything is going well, and then one sort of stray fireball or something just sets off a chain reaction, and suddenly everything's
it-
sort of on
Is
fire.
it one of those games where you like pause and like in single player, which I assume it has?
Yeah.
Is it one of those games you like pause and start again?
I don't know if there is a pause. Like I'm playing it multiplayer, so maybe that's not even an option.
Right.
But the combat is like turn based, so you can base
Right,
if it's
oh,
your
it's
turn.
turn-based. Okay,
Yeah,
right. Okay, sorry, I didn't. Okay, well in that case, yeah. That's,
Yeah. If and there's no timer or anything, so
Okay,
you could
great,
even
great.
like walk away and.
I am super keen to try this game. 'Cause
Yeah.
I have not played a good like sort of tactical RPG like that for a really long time.
It is a really really good.
Unless you count
tactical RPG, I
XCOM.
think. Yeah. Well, it's not that technical.
The shooter,
Right,
right?
right, right,
You're talking about the shooter?
Uh,
Oh god.
the Bureau.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Well, that was actually an alright game.
Hmm.
But anyway, the
This shouldn't have been called XCOM.
No. But anyway, yeah. So I was a huge fan of Neverwinter Nights and also Dragon Age, the original, before they completely destroyed that franchise.
Oh man, yeah.
And yeah, like I've not had gameplay like that.
Yeah.
Really good since Dragon Age. That was really really awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've got a hankering for a game like that.
I think you'd love it then because
Okay,
it
right.
and it gets it's a heavy role playing game too. I
Okay,
think
cool.
like there's even amongst the party members like you can finish some like major quest and then have a conversation. Like little icons will show up, meaning that there's a party conversation to have.
Okay.
And so your characters are then like saying stuff back and forth towards each other, and you're choosing the dialogue options.
Right. Okay.
And it's
That sounds really fun.
yeah, it is. It's
So
really cool.
Would you say that like multiplayer is the place to be, or would you reckon single player would be good too?
Well, with the right people, multiplayer can be fun.
And in single player, do you have like a party of?
Yeah.
volunteers?
You've
Okay,
got
right.
you've got 4 party members.
All right,
and
I'm in.
yeah.
All
right, let me-
I'm keen.
Let me
I'm
throw
for
this idea out there. On Friday evenings, we used to play Stellaris. Do you think this would be a good Friday evening?
Actually, it would
in office
for sure.
game?
Actually, yeah, I think it really would.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
But now you know what the.
Now I know
plot is,
I know
so-
too much though for the because we
You're not part of the party.
yeah
you can be
that's
the
fine.
DM.
Ooh, giant monster right at the start.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you could be the DM.
Yeah.
It's true.
That would be.
So did you? So you've been playing Dungeons and Dragons at some point?
I haven't played it for a while, but I was playing Rory's
What-
card game,
what a oh okay.
D&D card game thing. Yeah.
I've played a little bit of D&D lately.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we actually played it on the podcast
We
like
did play
6
it.
months ago.
I
yeah.
DM'd.
Is that a thing that people like to listen to?
I like to listen
There are
to
some very popular,
Yeah.
very, very popular D&D.
There are also
Really,
some
really?
very
Ours-
bad ones.
Ours is not one of them.
Right. Okay. Very good.
There were some really cool ones if you get like ones with comedians playing are usually
Right, okay.
probably
Yep.
definitely the
Yeah,
best. And I went through a
Voice
phase
actors.
of trying to listen to a whole bunch of different D&D podcasts because I was just getting into it. And some of them are just so bad. Like there was one I was listening to with the DM. I told you about. There's a DM is like eating while,
Oh, Jesus.
and he's just like, oh, so you see a door, and I was like, oh, I can't listen to this. This
Hang on.
is
So they
garbage.
were they I guess the problem with the podcast version is you don't have all the visual aids.
Yeah.
So like normally like when I was playing D&D back in university, we kind of had the whole like printed tiles.
Right.
Right.
So that
yeah,
you could
yeah.
kind of like actually, so it was more like an actual level that you sort of explore.
Yeah.
Whereas like, so I know some people play it way more abstractly, where they kind of like describe the scene, and like, whereas we were playing like,
That's
Yeah.
how I do it.
right, because
Mm.
we were playing very much like a board game, where it's like you can move X spaces, and you know,
Mm.
Oh,
like,
okay.
you know, and like
Yeah.
you know, it was so much more, and effectively what the DM would just print out, like he had some tool for it. He just print out like these grids.
Yeah.
Mm.
And he had some tool for like, just like putting walls down and stuff. Like it was an editor kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Oh,
And then
cool.
it was
There-
very easy.
there are
It was very easy to
websites.
just draw out a. It was very easy to just draw out a dungeon, and then you just print them all out, and then you just
Oh,
lay them
wow.
next to each other. So as you explore each place, you just put a new sheet of paper down,
Oh, that's
Yeah.
cool.
and then we just like remove the old ones and shift
Yeah.
the board along. And,
Oh, that's
It was
cool.
pretty easy to do. And that was actually pretty. And I actually had to go. Probably one of the earlier game design things that I did. I had to go at DMing one time, and the thing that I did, which apparently is like not a good thing, is like they have like I don't even remember exactly, but they've got like these kind of like difficulty sort of numbers that you like for each monster. that-
Difficulty checks. Yeah.
No. I'm talking about like as a DM, like as in how hard is this monster? Like if you're going to put this monster in your dungeon, like how hard is it? You know, in terms of like so you might.
Oh, is it something that only the DM kind of sees?
Yeah. I mean, well, it's more for just for planning purposes
Yeah.
for the
Yeah.
DM, and so I was kind of like pushing that right to the line of like, okay, well, I mean,
yeah.
theoretically, these guys can take down a difficulty X monster, and
Yeah.
therefore I'm going to put like like a I don't even remember the names of the monsters, but whatever, like something really hard there, and then in the next room I'm gonna put like one of these things they could also theoretically take down.
boy.
Like, and I was being way too like heavy-handed
too
with like
harsh.
with the monsters like one
Yeah.
after
Yeah.
another.
So it was a boss fight after
Yeah, it was
boss
kind of
fight.
like boss fight after boss fight. It was like it was not good.
Oh.
Because I obviously had way too many high regards for what these my
Yeah.
party could take
Oh,
down.
man.
That it's tricky because especially if you're new to DMing, and I've faced this exact same thing. It is very difficult to gauge because it's all probability based how much damage they'll do during a fight.
Right.
Because they will roll over and over and over again and miss every time.
Yeah,
Or
I remember when we were playing the final boss fight. You definitely, I could tell you just let us win because we were all gonna definitely die.
that is true, and that has happened in multiple sessions.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, there's a lot of luck involved.
Right.
In
Yeah.
how well
I think it's better to probably just scale down the difficulty initially, and then if it looks like it's getting too easy, you can just add in some extra monsters later.
Yeah.
Like they can just appear as like a they run in through the door because they're late to the party kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you can sort of just if it just looks like it's going to be a pushover, you just add more. But
I
you
just-
can't really subtract without
Yeah, it's
like
harder to
doing kind
take
of
away
dumb,
without some
yeah, you
sort
can't really
of
take away without like it sounding narratively stupid.
yeah,
Some
some convoluted reason to.
Okay.
But, I mean, the way I, at least in
Yeah,
my
the thing is,
case,
it really sucks when the players feel like you're letting them win.
Yeah.
Like you want them
yes.
to. Yeah.
Well, yeah. The key is to make it hard, but
The
not
thing
impossible.
I actually found annoying when I was playing Dungeons and Dragons is there would be a guy in the party who would want to try something stupid that just kind of got in the way of playing it like a game.
Oh,
It was
right.
like, oh, I want to roll for like I don't know some stupid thing that I'm going to try here. Like,
Yeah.
I can't really have a good example. Like throwing this mud that I picked off the ground. It's like, okay, well, I mean, like now we have to like work out like what would the probability
Yeah.
be? Like what check are we doing? Like it's just
Oh,
wasting everyone's
right.
time. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like it's not really like yeah, I know it's
Yeah.
supposed to be role playing, but at the same time, like just
But some of that can be up to the DM. Like if it's a stupid thing, the DM can sort of just maybe
Allow it
not
and then
do
punish
every
it.
single check.
I
that is
understand, but then
required.
it's kind of like but then some people just want to try it on.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like
I'm usually the person that will say something like, "Okay, I'm going to try something stupid here,"
Right,
and
right.
then it's like,
I think
throw a chandelier at someone.
I think it's partly because I see it more as a board game than a
Right.
role
Yeah.
playing thing, if you know what I mean. Like, and that's how I always treated it.
When I played
Um,
it in Australia, we played it like a board game, and I found that very frustrating.
Okay.
Because,
You didn't like that?
well, I think the biggest issue was combat took a really long time, and combat is my least favorite part of D&D.
Okay.
Because it is just rolling dice and saying the thing you
Mhm.
want to do, and it feels too much like a bad turn-based game.
But I mean,
And
that's
not
kind
enough-
of what it is, right? Like it's a turn based. Like,
But the
combat.
magic to me of D&D is the capacity to have crazy like emergent gameplay
Right.
because not everything is elastic.
Yeah,
If you
fair.
want to do something and the DM can allow it and crazy things can happen and there can be crazy consequences. But when you get to combat, it is very rigid and rule based.
Right. So I mean, maybe I just prefer the rules.
It's very
But-
possible. I know. I mean, it's not uncommon for people to really enjoy the combat part,
Right.
but that was always my least favorite part.
Right. Right.
All right, we're almost out of time. In fact, I think we are out of time. However, do we want to answer a question?
Now you got any good ones?
No.
We've asked almost all of these, I think, at this point.
Have we? No, we haven't.
some
But
of
any,
these
I
are-
mean, since we got Jonathan here, we should find ones that are related.
Jonathan? Is there anything you want to get out in the public?
What?
And by the public, I mean the 12 people who listen to this.
I mean, I don't know. That's not a good. That's a really bad question.
yeah.
Yeah.
Anything you want to promote?
Um.
I've heard
not-
Path of Exile is
not-
pretty good.
Not really. I mean, we kind of do our promotion not through your podcast. like,
and that's a
yeah.
wise
Why
decision.
is that? Because we've got a pretty big audience.
Yeah,
Here's why don't we ask this one? This is about game balancing, but it's a question about game balancing, not specific to game balance.
So, out of the people here, who's on the balance team?
Me, sort of.
Yeah, not me. But go right ahead.
But you've had experience with
Yeah,
game
sure.
balancing.
Yeah, yeah.
And this is from Steve. How hard is it to balance a game like PoE in general? As we all know, Carl worked in the game balance design team for a long time. Nowadays, he works more on the production side of things. He should be able to give lots of insight on the topic. What are the ultimate goals in balancing a game like PoE? Maybe he could elaborate on some PoE related balancing tasks in the past or upcoming to to illustrate his personal thoughts. So basically,
Specifically a Carl question.
this was specifically a Carl question. But I guess the question is like, how hard is it to balance PoE?
It's hard.
It is really hard.
Yeah, not easy.
I was looking. I mean, so I've been doing patch notes the last week,
Yeah.
and there's like 5,000 words of skill balance patch notes at the
Yeah.
moment.
Well, we're doing a huge skill revamp at the
Yeah.
moment, so
But then there's just when we're implementing a new feature, for example, incursion, so many things have to be taken into account that you can only really remember through testing and gameplay.
Mhm.
Like, for example, things generating inside of incursions that shouldn't be there, or like if you're doing a Katarina mission and there are some undead minions following you, and then you find Alva and you want to go into incursion, you have to make sure that the minions don't follow you in, because that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
And so there's like so many edge cases in even the smallest features that we ultimately add, because this game is just like a huge tangle of different gameplay elements
Mhm.
at this point, which is great from a like playing standpoint, but from a implementation standpoint is an increasingly large nightmare.
Yeah. I mean, that's not even really a balance concern
No.
there. I mean, the balance stuff is even more convoluted just because there's so many stats and interactions.
Yep.
It's like it's really only possible because we've got a big QA team, and that QA team has like a ridiculous number of play hours of Path of Exile.
Yep.
Which is why I always find it funny when people are like, "Oh, your
Lol,
QA team
1,000
don't know how to
hours.
play and stuff like that." It's like, really? No, they know how to play.
Yeah,
they've played some PoE in their lives. Yeah.
You've made some targeted hires of some very high level,
Oh yeah, definitely.
very high skilled players.
But honestly, like I've never really been doing end game balance myself much.
Yeah.
I care a lot more about the balance at the start of the game.
Yep.
Because there are lots of people on our team who care about the balance at the end of the game.
Yep.
And so I tend to focus more on the beginning.
And that's also the beginning is what determines how well people engage with the mechanics throughout
it's
the
funny
game.
though, because like right now the beginning of the game feels so easy, and almost anyone who's played, like any Path of Exile player who plays through the beginning is like, oh well, yeah, game's so easy. I don't know how how it, like people find it inconceivable that anyone could find the start difficult.
Mm.
But yet I still, when I talk to people, like I was talking to someone recently who's like, oh yeah, I got to level 18. Your game's super hard.
Mm.
And it's like, I don't think any of our existing players really appreciate the fact that there's still challenge there.
Yep.
And so then when it comes to balancing something like incursion, like right now it's tuned super difficult at the beginning. And I mean, even like, because it's tuned for like good players so that it feels like there's good progression there.
Yep.
And the reason why that's important is because in incursion, you like we wanted this idea of like when you start playing it, you can't make like lots of tier 3 rooms and other stuff like that. Like it's supposed to be sort of hard at the beginning and then easier later. But that's kind of directly going against the thing of like for players at the beginning of the game, it needs to be easier so they can actually play it.
Yeah.
And so I've kind of run into this issue of it's like, okay, if we make it too easy at the start, then all the pro players will just be able to get like ridiculous tier 3 rooms and get crap loads of loot early on. And if we make it hard, then it's going to be really disappointing for the players who don't really know what they're doing at the beginning.
Yeah,
they
for
won't be able
newbies
to make
and
any headway.
casuals.
They'll go into an incursion and they'll last like 5 seconds, and then they'll get kicked, and they'll feel like, what the hell was that?
Yep.
So yeah, that's a real tough one.
Yeah, it's often very knife's edge as well. Like
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, especially incursion is especially like that because of the way that you have to sort of sustain the timer. Like if you go below 0, you immediately fail. But yet, like if you're gaining more time than you're spending all the time, then you can get like a really long period of time.
Right. There's
and
also
then,
a little bit of a positive feedback loop here, because the better you do in your incursion,
The more loot
the
you
more
get,
loot
yeah.
and experience you get,
Yeah.
and the better a temple you get, and then easier that all following incursions
Well,
will be.
I mean, Path of Exile is a study in the positive feedback loops.
Yep.
It's like the amount of exponential damage bullshit that goes on.
Yep.
That can go on is very high. So yeah.
I
It's
remember
difficult.
when I first moved here, and you guys took me out for dinner. You got, at that point, you were doing like new employee dinners.
Well, we should totally do that again.
Tricky when the company gets as big as
No,
it is.
we
But
should still do it. It really is bad that we stopped doing that. Like, it's just that I don't even know why it stopped, but yeah, we should really keep doing that.
yeah. But I remember you guys talking to me about how, like, it was so shocking to you when you looked back at D2 and you looked at the base damage numbers of these base types
Yeah.
versus like what you expected them to be because of how much damage you were dealing by end
Yeah.
game. And just it was because there were all these different exponential elements.
Yeah.
And how informative that was for Path of Exile's item design.
Yeah. It's the tiniest details seem to matter a lot.
Yep.
So yeah.
Cool.
Any other questions?
Probably, but we're out of time.
Okay.
So first of all, thank you for coming over.
No worries. I can talk bullshit about random games anytime.
Great.
Awesome.
So you're gonna be the new host, and no,
Oh, actually, what are you planning to play next now that you're done with God and War?
So I am actually gonna play this random game. I don't even remember the name of it now, but like, okay, so this is kind of a random story, but there's this guy who's been emailing me with
sorry about that, by the way.
with no with no return address
Oh,
for
weird.
about, and this is Chris and Eric as well, for about 5 years. Right? So for 5 years, and he's like crazy. Like the content of this email is like absolute insanity. I'm almost tempted to just break one out and read it to you.
Oh my
just to,
God.
like, just
I
an
think
example.
maybe you
I've
should.
But I don't-
seen one of these
Yeah,
before.
yeah,
They
but, like,
are
anyway,
funny.
So the thing is that like he doesn't know that anyone gets these emails, right? Like
Because you can't reply.
we can't reply.
Yeah.
Like there's no method of, there's no back way to communicate.
It is 100% one way.
100% one way. So he links. So recently, like he sent me a link to a Steam game, and I went to the page and saw the trailer. I was like, oh yeah, that looks kind of cool. So I bought it. So that's the next game I'm gonna play.
Nice.
So yeah, like that was the first actionable advice.
Oh my
that
God.
the private
Wow.
message guy, as we call him, has ever.
What do you call them?
The private message guy, because the thing is, the
Private
subject
message.
line is always just private message, because he's using some like random like confidential email sending service to like send an email so that it's completely anonymous, so that no one knows. And as I said, he probably sends multiple a week for 5 years.
Oh my God.
Like I mean, I honestly, I'm
definitely
tempted to read
bust one
out.
out. Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
tempted to read one. Like the thing is, I don't know how crazy they are at the moment. So
Alright.
like because I mean they vary from completely incoherent to
Fairly
somewhat.
mundane.
I think the moral here is persistence pays off.
Yeah, it obviously does. I'm
Wow.
worried he's going to hear this
Persistence
now.
or insanity.
I'm very worried he's going to hear this
Like,
now.
if you can hear this, give them a return email address so they can at least reply.
Well,
like,
no, I mean,
what do you
that's
want
probably
from?
Not a good idea.
Start emailing Nick instead.
Hey, yeah, why not? I used to get some
You
random
know-
fan emails. One of I don't know if I've ever mentioned this on the podcast, but one of the Magic the Gathering designers used to email me quite regularly.
Oh, cool.
No return email.
No, he definitely had return email. And he,
It was
he
just after
always-
you were emailing him
always-
with no return.
always very critical of the game. Always so critical, but always playing.
Honestly, these are too incoherent to even read.
Wow.
Oh, do you want me to try and read it out?
I mean, like, no, they're not even interesting though.
Oh, okay.
Like, it's just kind of like
Is it just words almost?
Well, but it will just launch into a completely arbitrary topic. Like, here's one I received a while ago. Stair step sync can be available for certain stairs. Currently, the stair steps is basically walking on a slope with just the stair texture on it. This should be eliminated. But if this is to be used, the surface area of the steps should be more expanded. Otherwise, if the steps are single step stairs, it should be a step synced. The only problem with this is the application of this with enemies. Will various enemies be able to step sync with this type of lesser surface area steps?
Ooh.
that
the
sounds
email,
like
right?
that sounds like something generated by a machine.
Well, no, I mean, I understand what he's talking
Yeah, he's
about.
talking about
but the thing is, it's like,
walkability on
and that's
steps.
the entire email.
Yeah.
And it's like, this is just a random out of the blue, as I said, with no return
No,
address
and
or anything. Like, it's
He's
just,
never heard from
yeah, exactly.
any
Never
of
heard
you.
it. We've never replied. I mean, we can't reply
Yeah.
a single time.
Yeah.
He has no
I
idea. It's
love
just
it.
going to the void. Now I'm confirming the
Favorite.
fact that I received these, which is probably a bad
Oh,
idea.
you're
No.
gonna get more.
Absolutely not.
Or like this one here, which is just horrormosaic.jpg, and then he just links to a random image that has some random horror images, which I'm showing you now.
That's
Like
so threatening.
the thing is, it's like it's just anyway.
Sent you a bunch of horror photos.
Yeah. Anyway, so like this is the type of shit I'm receiving. So anyway, I received so the last email I got from him was just literally just a link to a Steam game.
Yeah.
And then I bought that Steam game.
Nice.
So there you go.
Wow.
There you
Okay.
go.
Well, I want to hear how that
Yep,
is, but
very good.
that'll have to be on another podcast
Wow.
or just probably on Monday.
Yep.
Oh my god.
If you are that guy, email frontseatquestions@gmail.com. We want to hear from you. You can also tweet at us at frontseatcast. We've got a Facebook page, facebook.com/frontseatcast. Frontseatgamer.wordpress.com is our WordPress site. You can leave comments on there. We read them. We sometimes reply. And we've also got a YouTube page, youtube.com/frontseatcast. Talk to us. We love hearing from you. You should also rate us on iTunes. Tell your friends. We've got a very, very, very slowly growing listenership, but it is growing, and that's cool. We're part of the Australasian Gaming Podcast Network. We're probably the only one that has followers. Not all. But I'm sure there's some very nice people. And they've got it's hashtag AGPN on Twitter, or they've got a Facebook page, facebook.com/groups/AGP Network. We want to thank Leanne for our logo and Andrew for our music. And we'll be back in a couple weeks.
Cool.
Bye. Bye.
How's Tencent?
I mean, like, what are you really asking? Like, how? I mean, like, they don't really, we had a board meeting yesterday, like the first board meeting,
Right.
and so that was kind of like, I guess, a sort of illustrative of what we would expect.
Mm.
We pretty much said to them, hey, like, here's the numbers. How's this going? What do you reckon about this? And they're like, oh, yeah. And, we talked about some issues, but there was no real, like, hey, you should do this or anything, It
Yeah.
was just kind of like,
Yeah.
I mean, what can I say? There wasn't a lot to it.
They didn't say anything like, "Have you thought of pay to win?"
No, they haven't. They haven't said.
Now, what do
they
you
haven't
think
said
about
that.
selling loot?
Yeah.
Loot boxes, they're real hot right
Honestly,
now.
the questions were more like, so how about that GDPR, or stuff where it's like kind of like legal risks and like other
Right.
things like that. Like that's kind of like,
Yeah.
just generally like hey, I mean. The questions they're asking us is like, so like, what projects are you working on? When do you think those are going to be finished? And like, what's your plan and that kind of stuff, like we just kind of talked about that. So there really wasn't any kind of like, you should do this or you should do that or anything going on. I mean, they're pretty well known for like not fucking around with the companies they're involved with, which is good.
Do you know how it's been going in China?
I mean, it's doing pretty well. Yeah, it's just doing well. But I mean, obviously we can always do better. The thing that's hard, honestly, with a new market always is teaching people about coming back for leagues, because a lot of
Right,
people
yeah.
don't have that mindset when you first go there. So like we saw that in Taiwan, for example, where it was like we had like a big spike at the start, and then it went down a lot, but then for the last like several years, it's just been going up again, just like our realm.
Really?
Yeah. So I mean, it's good because like once people kind of get on board the whole, like, oh yeah, we're supposed to come back every 3 months and there's new content and stuff. Like once they understand that,
They get
then
their
everything
friends and
then everything goes well.
Yeah.
But initially they're kind of treating it like like a lot of MMOs and stuff. You just play one character. Like at least most people will just play one character, and then that's kind of their their character, and they'll come back when there's an expansion and play that same character for more, and so on.
Yeah.
And so it's a different mindset to the whole sort of seasonal thing that we do. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
That's just the thing. So I mean, yeah, it's kind of like it'll be like that anywhere, and once again, just and that was the thing we were really sure to say to the China publishing team is like push the league agenda as hard as possible in the marketing and all that sort of stuff, and so that's kind of what they're trying to do.
Do you get to see what they do over there?
I mean, we get to see it in so much as that, like, we see it, but I mean, it's like, I mean, at the end of the day, it's very hard to know how effective that stuff is because we don't speak the language. So, like, if we're looking at a forum, it's like, well, like we can Google Translate it, but we're not really understanding them, I mean, I'm sure there's just as much memeing going on in the China forums as there are in our forums, right? So it's like it's kind of all noise to someone who doesn't understand the language natively. So it's kind of like it's very hard for us to really know what the sentiment is other than what they tell us.
Do they were there reviews or anything?
I mean, like I'm sure there are, but I mean, I don't think it's as like formally established over there in that same way.
Like there's not like a games journalism culture.
Yeah, I don't think as much. I mean, there's certainly there's game websites and they talk
Right.
about it and stuff, and like that all that stuff is certainly there. But I mean, it's not like, I mean, put it this way, I don't know what our like Metacritic China review is, for
Right.
example. Like, that's not really like you know, I don't know if that's really a thing. So you know, yeah. But I mean, I know that there's some really big fans of China. Like, you know, there's a lot. In fact, one of the things that kind of sucks a little bit right now is how early we get the content before the China realm does. Because it sort of means that like some people, like the most hardcore people from China, are kind of incentivized to like play on our
Play in our
realm
realm.
instead of their
Yeah.
realm, and then it kind of like now they have to kind of move back, and it's like an annoying thing. So I really want to try and get that like shorter. And then the other thing, of course, is Xbox, which we're getting closer now.
Oh yeah.
So that one I believe we have announced. It's like I think it's like the Monday. Like after, because we always deploy on a on what is our Saturday morning,
Right.
which is in America Friday evening.
Right.
Yep.
And we do that because like everyone wants to have like come home from work and do the ladder rush type thing.
Yep.
So yeah, we'd really love to do Xbox at that time as well, but unfortunately, like unlike our company, people from Microsoft don't want to work on the weekend. So like they you know, so it's a different situation there. So we can only deploy on a weekday. So yeah, but then we don't want to move, like, so what we could do is like move to Thursday the launch, but then
Yeah.
all of our players would be really pissed off.
Yeah.
Because they want to come home from work and ladder rush. They want to have work in the way.
When I
So,
first joined, we had a weekday launch. I'm pretty sure. Sacrifice of the Vol, maybe, or
I mean,
or
I don't even
Forsaken
remember.
Masters
I don't even
something?
remember what it was back then.
I remember it being like everyone was in the office for one of the launches, like everyone, because it would just happen. To
I
be
don't know.
launch day.
Well, for a long time now, we've been doing it on Saturday morning because we want
Yeah.
to get that timing. Like, it's actually really, like, you know, I mean, people like the ladder rush, right? Like, there's the whole like first to enter area and like, you know, like the first to get to level X and all that kind of stuff. And like people don't want to feel like it's unfair. Oh, I have to go to work, you know.
right?
Yeah.
So like, yeah, we kind of have
Yeah.
to do it when we do it.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
Totally makes
But it's
sense.
just kind of unfortunate for the Xbox because, like, you know, we just can't. I mean, I think that maybe we even technically could, but I believe that they're like very much like, please don't do this when no one's around to fix it if it goes wrong, kind
Yeah.
of thing, you know.
Fair enough.
So yeah,
Mm.
it's just how these things are, I guess.
I guess also, unlike the PC China versus West dichotomy, people who play on Xbox usually only play on Xbox.
Right. They're probably not
they
going to
don't
switch
have
to a
that
PC
option,
just to
so
see
that it
the
doesn't
content.
really
Yeah,
matter.
Yeah, I
if
mean,
they're a few days
sure, but I
late.
still, the problem is like I really want to. I want everyone to feel like the whole, it's just one game, if you know what I mean. Like
Yep.
there are all these different versions and stuff
Mm.
like that, and like we, like even just technically, like internally, we try to engineer it that way as well, where like it's one
Yeah.
it's one tag that we
Mm.
build in multiple ways rather than like different versions, if you know what I
Yeah.
mean. So like that's a sort of important thing.
Yeah, there's not really
Um,
separate teams or anything.
Right. Yeah, definitely not. I mean, really, like at this point, like when you like, I mean, so for example, like when Jake, who's our UI guy, makes a feature on the UI, he makes the Xbox and PC one at the same time. There's no like, oh, give this to the Xbox team or anything like that.
Yeah.
And then really the team for Xbox is really just one guy, which is Jeff, who
Yeah.
basically manages the like patches, like making sure it's all building, and he does the QA for Xbox as well, like for any Xbox issues that
Yeah,
aren't.
there's. I think also Alex on QA does some of the.
Yeah, he does some as well, but I think it's sort of mostly
Primarily it's Jeff.
yeah, it's primarily Jeff.
Yeah. I'll often help
And
him with the
you know, but like
patches.
and all the other and all the other actual work is just done by whoever did the work for the PC version because it's all just one unified thing. So there's no real sort of difference,
Yeah.
and we try to keep it as simple as possible. Like there's no like different art or anything like that. It's all completely unified. So.
That's the thing I remember when we announced that I don't think players seem to think that like half the company was working on the
Right, I know it
Xbox,
was
like, and
crazy.
it's-
I like
It's tricky because we're quite transparent, especially by game dev studio standards. But there's like a level of like a lot of our players have never worked at a company,
Right.
let alone like a game company, and so they
Yeah.
don't necessarily have the They have these like guesses. Oh, GGG must work in a high rise, and there's there's a whole floor dedicated to
Yeah.
Xbox.
yeah.
And everyone does all of the art, and then everyone does all of the programming, and
Just
then
goes
everyone
down the
does-
building like that,
Yeah.
and then out the door at the end.
right.
But that's not the case. We should start the podcast
I'll-
because
I'll
we're
have a
missing
quick
a lot
look
of
at that.
juicy convo.
I'm assuming that you'll just edit that into the podcast at some point forward somehow.
Probably not.
Okay.